Hello again, everyone. Thank you for coming back to my channel. I hope you guys are well wherever you are in the world. In today's video, we are taking a look at the brand new Hiya Toys Exquisite Basic Kong from Godzilla vs. Kong. Now, let me start off by giving a big thank you and shout out to the Hiya Toys team. Thank you very much for sending out this figure to me for review. The figure comes packed with everything you see here. So you've got 3 heads with the figure. You've got 4 pairs of hands. So you've got the fisted hands. You've got the gorilla hands. You have the gripping hands, which is for his axe. And you've got the open hands. And just taking a look at the details of the hands, there's a lot of nice sculpting detail that they put into just the hands themselves. So you can see a lot of nice detailing things, okay? And of course, the axe. Okay, so you can't have this Kong without an axe. Now, talking a bit about the axe, you can take the axe apart like this, very easy. So then that will enable you to slide the axe into his hands like that. And then you can just slide it up if you wanted to, and then you can just switch out the hands on the figure. And it's very easy to do. So let me just switch out one hand. Okay, and let's just switch out the head too. And let's put the roaring head. I like the roaring head very much. There you go. Okay, so I think this figure looks fantastic. Let's talk a little about the sculpt of this figure. I think Hiya did a fantastic job sculpting this figure. So he clearly looks like Kong. You got very nice detailing on his body to represent his fur from head to toe. So you have the battle scars on his chest. Okay, and I have the roaring head on, and it's very well sculpted inside. Let me see if I can just adjust the camera for you guys. A lot of nice detailing there. Good details on the face. And if you notice, guys, the paint on the eyes is very well done as well. So I don't feel like I have to repaint his eyes. So let me just switch back the head so we can look at the other sculpting details of the other heads. Now, you need a little bit of force to put the heads in. There you go. So here is the normal face expression, and look at that. I really like that. That does look like Kong from the film. And the eyes is painted very well. So I don't feel like I need to do any touch up on the eyes, because normally with past figures, they don't paint the eyes correctly, and I feel that Hiya did a fantastic job of painting the eyes. Let's look at the grinning teeth one. So just switch that out. I really like this head very much. I wasn't sure, judging from the promo photos, I wasn't sure if I was gonna like this particular head sculpt, but I think that turned out really well. I really like it. I think this figure is very well proportioned. I like the way his arms came out. They look nice and thick. He's got broad shoulders. The detailing all over his body for the fur, even detailing underneath his foot. Look at that. Very nice. Okay, now I like the overall paint on the body. Now, I think, like, for my personal taste, I think his fur should be a little bit lighter, so there can be a little bit more color separation between his skin and his fur. But this is nicely done. I think this is well enough, and I really like it very much. Okay, now we're going to get into some comparisons a little bit later with other figures, but I want to touch on the articulation. Now, the articulation is where, unfortunately, there are some limitations for this figure in some poses. Not all poses, but in some poses. So I'm going to demonstrate that for you right now. So for the arms, he can move his arms up about that much. He's got a bicep swivel. Okay, so now his arms can only go down about that much. So he's always gonna have like, he's always gonna look like he's got like these big lats, like a bodybuilder. So you can't push his arms any lower than that. Okay, it's just the way that the figure is designed. So I can move his arms up all the way like this, but as I move the arms up, I can't, his arms can't go straight up, which is unfortunate because, you know, if I want to do a photo with Kong chopping with his axe and have both his hands on the axe, it's just not possible for me to do that pose because they're just so far apart. So that is definitely a bummer in the design of the shoulders of the shoulders. So I can't really get the hands to really touch, and like if I wanted to do poses where I have Kong holding the axe with both his hands, unfortunately I can't do that either. Okay, now he's got double, what's it called, double elbow joints, I think it's called. I'm not sure, sorry guys. Okay, so you know, he's got good bend at his elbows. You know, you can bend his wrists. Okay, so he's got good bend there. Okay. Now, let me just adjust the camera a little. Now, if you notice on his body, he's got a cut here for, he's got an articulation cut here. Now, I can twist Kong all the way around, okay? But if I want to crunch Kong, I can't do it. This figure cannot do a crunch, which is a big bummer for me because if I want to do photos of him sitting down, you know, like Kong is those type of is that type of character that needs to have an ab crunch because, you know, he's got like a humanoid body and things, right? And unfortunately, there's just no, you can't do it. Like I've been trying and trying to get him to crunch, and he cannot do an ab crunch. Now, let me show you what, I'm gonna take him apart and I'm gonna show you guys why. I just gave him a warm bath in order for me to pull his body apart. So, you know, I apologize, you know, because he's wet. Because I want to show you guys what's happening here, why I can't do a crunch with this figure. So, as you can see, the figure is being held by this peg here. Okay, so the peg goes in there, okay, obviously. Now this peg right here, let me just adjust the lighting here a little. This peg is in a fixed position. I cannot get this peg to move at all. I tried hot water to loosen it. I've tried a hair dryer. I've even tried DW40 lubricant, and this peg here will not budge. Now it looks like it should be able to, because there's like plenty of room here, but it just will not move. So like I can't, that's why I can't get this figure to do crunches whatsoever, which is a big bummer for me at least, because I can't, you know, if I want to do photos of this Kong in a sitting position, I have to now work around that limitation. So let me just adjust the camera a bit so I can show you guys. Okay, so I mean the articulation on the legs is okay. Okay, so I'll get to that in a second. Okay, but I will have to now, you know, if I want to do photos of him sitting and crunching his abs, crunching his you know, his upper body, I would have to take off this part completely and then just let it rest like that. And see, that looks natural, like he's like sitting naturally, you know, which, you know, he should be able to do just, you know, coming out of the box, you know, but there's just no ab crunching on this figure, unfortunately. I've reconnected his body, and you guys can clearly tell in this sitting position, he can't lean forward whatsoever because he doesn't have an ab crunch, which makes it a little bit difficult for taking photos of him, like if you want to show him sitting down, you know. So and it just doesn't look all that natural, like you know, when people or even, you know, animals, you know, they sit down, like gorillas, you know, they lean forward, you know, because, you know, they crunch their abdomen. Okay, and he just can't do it. Okay, now in terms of the articulations on the legs are okay. You know, he's got double jointed knees. Okay, so let me see if I can get him in a side kick. So he can do a side kick. Well, I can't balance him, not yet, but I'll work on it. So you can, there's like a little bit of a swivel on this part over here, on his leg, on his upper thigh. Okay, now there's a little bit of ankle movement here. There's no, you know, foot cut here like the SH Monster Arts has. So let me see if I can get him to kneel at least. So at least I can get him to kneel. Which is okay. Okay. Now I'm gonna try and do a gorilla pose, and I'm gonna bring out the SH Monster Arts so I can show you guys the differences in the articulation, at least in the range and things. Demonstrating the articulation differences between these two figures. So over here we have the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive Kong, and we have our brand new Hiya Kong, and you guys can see that in terms of articulation, the SH Monster Arts is just better in this regard here. So he can do this pose. He can look up. His arms, there's no problem, you know, moving his arms forward like this in order for him to support his weight. Whereas the Hiya Kong, unfortunately, I really had to struggle with getting his arms like this. So he can't, you know, I can't articulate his arms in this fashion here, just like this. And there's no neck articulation in this figure either, so he can't look up. And because there's no ab crunch, or no, I can't even arch his back either, to get him to look up a little bit. So that is an unfortunate limitation in the articulation of the Hiya figure. Giving you one more example of the articulation differences between the SH Monster Arts and the Hiya. So as you guys can see, the SH Monster Arts, he can bring his arms up all the way like that, and at least he can join his hands together so he can hold the axe like in a chopping pose. And unfortunately, I have been trying, but the new Hiya Kong just cannot do it, which is a bummer. So yeah, I mean, no figure is perfect. Both figures are really good. I like both of them, but each figure has its pluses and its negatives. And unfortunately for the new Hiya Kong, the negative is the articulation in terms of the shoulders and in the abdomen area. And those are the differences of the figures, the articulation differences. Now, in terms of like overall appearance, you can clearly tell which one pops more. In my opinion, the Hiya looks better. In like what you're seeing right now, it just looks nicer. His paint pops a little bit more. He's got more presence. There's better paint app in his face and even in his eyes. I mean, the SH Monster Arts, I mean, I like it, but they could have done a better job in terms of the paint, because there's not a lot happening here in terms of like the paint application on the SH Monster Arts Kong, whereas Hiya really did put in a lot of effort into making their Kong stand out in terms of like the overall paint. So each figure has its pluses and its negatives. Now, one thing I will say about the Hiya Kong, he is not as fragile feeling and brittle as the SH Monster Arts. So every time I've used the SH Monster Arts, something pops off him, a leg, an arm, okay? Something just always pops off the SH Monster Arts. Whereas the Hiya Kong, nothing has popped off on him. It feels like a sturdy figure. Nothing will pop off on him, is what I'm trying to say. Time for some comparisons. Here are some other King Kong figures that you guys may have in your collection. So here we have the Mezco King Kong, the Peter Jackson 2005 King Kong. We have the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive Kong, and the NECA classic King Kong, which I really like this King Kong very much. So you guys can clearly see I have a King Kong army. Now, it's crazy having these guys here in front of me. They all can do ab crunches except this new Hiya figure, which is a real bummer, guys. Here's a look with the SH Monster Arts Mecha Godzilla and the Hiya Godzilla, which he is a fantastic Godzilla figure. He is my favorite legendary figure that I have. And these two fit well together. So I've done some toy photography. I'll be showing you guys towards the end of that video. And here we have the Bandai set of the Mutos with our new Kong, and they look good together. Looks very nice. And there you have it, guys. The brand new Hiya Toys Exquisite Basic Kong. Now, for my final thoughts, I think this Kong is a nice figure. Personally, I think he's worth getting. Now, for those of you that want this figure just for collection purposes, if he's going to be just sitting up on his shelf, then you don't need to worry about any of the articulation issues that this figure has. But for those of you that want this figure for toy photography and for stop motion, understand that you guys may be facing some difficulties when you're trying to pose Kong in certain poses, like how I demonstrated for you earlier. So you may want to avoid doing those particular poses for this figure. All right, guys, so that's it for now, guys. Thank you so much for watching, guys. And again, thank you, Hiya Toys, for sending me out this figure for review. Thank you very much. And guys, I have the photo gallery at the end of this video, so stick around for that. And I will catch you guys in the next video. Thank you so much and take care.